Yeah, yo, what's going on, guys? Spartan here. Guys, today we're going to be talking about the carnivore diet. Everything you need to know talking about the carnivore diet in terms of bodybuilding, fitness, and athletics. Specifically, pros versus cons. We got the pros over here and the cons over here. We're going to list them off and go through this and hammer this home for absolutely everything you need to know about the carnivore diet in terms of performance, muscle mass, muscle size, and also strength. All right, so you don't want to stick around, watch the video to the end. I'll keep it short, keep it sweet, but at the end of the day, guys, I guarantee you're going to learn a lot more here, or specifically you're going to learn a lot more here in regards to bodybuilding, fitness and athletics, performance, fat loss, and muscle gain versus watching another video on this. So guys, let's break this down. Let's talk about the carnivore diet. So if you've been watching my videos over the years or whatever, you already know that I'm a huge, I guess I'm a huge advocate. I'm a huge supporter of the carnivore diet. However, I'm going to be plain and blunt with you guys. There's a couple reasons why, there's a couple negatives with this diet, and we're going to get into that. So let's break this down. And guys, I want to put this out here real quick before we get into the nitty gritty. There's going to be some stuff in this video, maybe a lot of stuff, that you guys are not going to like and that you're not going to want to hear. But regardless, I'm going to say it how it is. I'm going to speak the truth. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. I don't care. But you're going to want to listen to this because I'm just going to give it to you straight how it is. Let's get into this. The carnivore diet, pros versus cons. Biggest pro with the carnivore diet right out the gate is more energy. Now, if you are, hang on a second, let me write this down. More energy. Now, if you are out of shape, let's say you're really out of shape, all right? Let's say your body sucks at burning fat. You're out of shape, your body sucks at burning fat. You've been eating trash for a long time. Well, what's the side effect of that? Your body's not going to be very good at burning fat for fuel, both at turning fat into glucose and also mobilizing fat in general for use for your metabolism. So if you are a fat slob, okay, that sounds mean, but if you are out of shape and you've been eating trash, this effect is going to take a little bit longer to set in, but it's going to set in regardless. So the biggest pro of the carnivore diet, and this is, let's say you're out of shape, your body's not used to burning fat. After about 2 weeks, your body's going to get pretty good. And the longer you do the carnivore, the more energy you're going to have until you peak out. So the biggest pro with the carnivore diet, as long as once your body gets used to using fat for fuel, the biggest pro right out the gate is more energy. You're going to have a lot more energy throughout the day, consistent energy. You're going to feel good. And this is one thing I noticed. I've done pretty much every diet. I've done high carb, low fat, high fat, low carb, keto. I've done carnivore, all right? I've done a variety of different diets. But this is one thing you're going to know is more energy, all right? You're going to have really good energy levels. I believe what's his name? Dr. Anthony Chafee, I believe it is. He talks about this too. Joe Rogan talks about this. There's a lot of people that talk about this. But if you're doing carnivore diet right, lots of red meat, maybe some eggs on the side here or there, but sticking to primarily red meat, maybe you go into some pork, some chicken every once in a while. Whatever, eat carnivore, but if you're eating a lot of red meat, you're going to have more energy. That's also too because red meat is packed full of L-carnitine, creatine, L-carnitine, creatine, B vitamins, and zinc, iron, such as so forth. But the B vitamins combined with the L-carnitine is going to give you a nice boost in energy. But that's besides just doing the carnivore diet. Those are bonuses. All right, so more energy right out the gate for pros. What's another pro? You're going to rip off fat like nobody's business. When I was doing carnivore hardcore when I was doing perfect carnivore combined with perfect training, hormones, getting ready for a show, I was ripping off about half a pound a day doing just hardcore carnivore. I started out, eating how I should carnivore, and then I slowly, to get even more ripped, I went just slightly leaner. But there's a fine line. You don't want to go too lean. But we're going to talk about fat loss. Fat loss on carnivore, if you want to get ripped to the bone, shredded to the bone super fast, I can tell you guys from doing almost every diet, there's nothing that's going to get you shredded as fast as carnivore. Just being plain blunt and honest with you guys. I've done pretty much every diet. Carnivore works, and it works really, really well. All right, especially once you get past, it depends on who you are, on how out of shape you are, and how damaged your metabolism is. But I'm going to say between 1 week and a month, your energy levels are going to be great. Fat loss is going to set in right away, but more energy and fat loss, huge points. Okay, I've done every diet. I'm not just biased towards carnivore. I'm going to talk about some negatives, but let's talk about these pros first. Tons of energy if you're doing it correctly. Tons of fat loss. Next, all right, muscle mass gains. So with carnivore, if you're, let's say you're eating red meat. You're eating primarily red meat, maybe throwing some eggs, throwing some pork every once in a while, whatever. If you're doing carnivore, muscle mass. So the carnivore diet is great for muscle mass overall, all right? You're going to have a ton of muscle mass doing this diet, especially in combination with, perfect training and hormones, all right? So muscle mass, great. Strength, also great on this diet. People think that, if you're not eating tons of carbs, your strength is going to dip. Guys, pound for pound, listen to this. Please listen to what I'm about to say. Pound for pound, I was the strongest I've ever been doing carnivore, all right? All right, we'll talk about muscle size in just a second, though. Let's get into some cons. So the biggest con, again, giving it to you how it is, and I know you guys are not going to like what I'm about to say here, but the biggest con with carnivore is this. You're not going to be as big, as pumped, as muscle skin ripping, just put it this way. You know how you look when you're doing, maybe you don't, but high carb, low fat diet or medium carb, low fat diet. If I'm really lean and I'm doing a high carb, low fat diet, I go to the gym, I'm going to have mind-ripping pumps, veins out. I'm going to look huge, going to look big. I look pretty small right now because it's cold in here. My veins aren't out. But having said that, the one real drawback with carnivore is if you're doing carnivore perfect, you're going to have like a half filled out. All right, you're going to look good. You're going to look a little pumped because if you're eating plenty of red meat's going to fill you out. All right, let's say you're doing. We'll just call it Seth Carnivore, all right? Seth Spartan Carnivore. You're sticking to, or like, what's his name, Dr. Chafee. Let's say, or Joe Rogan, I don't remember what he was eating, but let's say you're doing carnivore, you're eating primarily red meat, maybe you'll throw some eggs, some pork, some chicken, whatever, but primarily red meat, you're going to be filling out a little bit from that red meat. The red meat, between the L-carnitine, the creatine, the B vitamins, and the iron, you're going to look good. You're going to be pretty pumped, pretty filled out, but you're not going to look as good, completely filled out, as you're going to look if you do what? High or medium carbs and low fat. All right, I'm sorry. You're just not going to look as good as that. So the negative is muscle size. And this is specifically in regards to glycogen, all right? All right, so that's specifically in regards to glycogen. Just because you're not eating those carbs, you're not going to be completely filled out all the time, all right? That's just how it is. Now, let's talk about, let's see here. What another con we have? Well, there's a lot of directions we could go right here. But I want to address this for you guys. This is probably the most important thing in the video in regards to things you don't know, all right? Pay attention here. I'm only going to say this once. The carnivore diet is the best diet on this planet, in my professional opinion, if you are a natural athlete or bodybuilder. If you are a natural athlete or bodybuilder and you want to look your best all the time, as ripped as possible, as big as possible, look the best you've ever looked continually, or even for a show, if you're natural, there's nothing better than the carnivore diet, period. That's the best diet, all right? However, if you are on testosterone replacement, testosterone and HGH replacement, all right, like me, I do high dose testosterone and HGH replacement through the hormone replacement clinic I work for, all right? But if you're doing replacement or you're doing anabolic steroids, the carnivore diet is going to be the second best option. There's a better option, and that's going to be medium or high carbs to low fat. Why? Why is that? Let's explain this. And nobody's going to be talking about this. I haven't heard any person talk about this before. Here's the big reason. Ready for it? If you are a natural athlete or bodybuilder and you try to diet down with low fat, right? Let's say you try to do high carb, low fat, or medium carb, low fat. Guess what? Muscles are going to be filled out. Your muscles are going to be filled out. You're going to look big. You're going to look good. But there's a problem. If you're a natural athlete or natural bodybuilder, you're producing your own hormones. Specifically, the major muscle building hormone is none other than what? Testosterone. The testicles suck in cholesterol and they spit out testosterone, all right? You see where this is going? So in the normal male body, if you're not on testosterone replacement or taking anabolic steroids, what's going to be happening, guys, is cholesterol is the raw component for testosterone. Fat is the raw component for testosterone. So in a normal person, in a normal male, you increase, you start eating a bunch of whole eggs, steak, other things, your testosterone goes through the roof. The reverse is true. If you go on a high carb, low fat diet, any low fat diet for that matter, guess what? Your testosterone goes to nothing, all right? It's going to go way down. So what's going to happen is if you try to diet down, like tons of these other bodybuilders on tons of these other channels, they're doing high carb or medium carbs and low fat, anything where they cut fats low. You can't copy that diet because your testosterone is going to go to zero. Well, maybe not zero, but it's going to go to trash can. And guess what? You're going to lose muscle mass very, very, very quickly, and also performance and stamina in the gym. So the issue is just what I'm telling you. Carnivore diet is your best option if you want to look the best continually, ripped, shredded, big, if you are a natural athlete or a natural bodybuilder, period. Because the fats need to be high, and these are the fats you want for driving your testosterone up. But guess what? If you are an enhanced athlete or on replacement testosterone, HGH replacement, guess what? Your best diet is going to be none other than high carb, low fat, or medium carb, low fat. Why? Because it doesn't matter if you cut out fats. You don't need that for hormone production because you're replacing those hormones with synthetics, all right? So it's not such a big deal. So for me, the best diet for an enhanced bodybuilder or a bodybuilder on testosterone replacement is going to be none other, long-term, looking as big as possible, as lean as possible, is going to be none other than high carb, low fat, or medium carb, low fat, on high protein regardless, obviously. So this is the big thing that I want to drive home to you guys about carnivore versus, what's the best diet? The best diet, the first question is, are you natural or not? Or are you on natural, or are you on testosterone replacement, or are you taking anabolic steroids? That's the first question. But regardless, for somebody like me, can I do carnivore? Yeah, I can do carnivore, not a big deal, but it's not going to be, there's still a better option. Might I switch carnivore in and out? Not a big deal, I can do that, but over the long period of time, for me, if I want to look my absolute best, we're going to want to be keeping some carbs in, all right? Let's talk about some more cons with the carnivore diet. People say they can have diarrhea or issues. I never had any of that. Right when I switched to meat, I had no problems. So I don't know what people are talking about with that. So I'm not going to even write that on there. Maybe people just don't eat any meat. So then they all of a sudden they eat tons of meat, or they're just wimps. Kidding. I don't know. Let's see here. More energy, fat loss, muscle mass, strength. Let's see, what else? Put this in here. You're going to have a greatly improved health in terms of when I was on carnivore. When I was on carnivore, my blood pressure was the lowest it's ever been. Lower blood, low, all my labs, whether I'm talking about liver, kidneys, kidney function was the highest it's ever been on carnivore. That's amazing too, by the way. That's the opposite of what the doctors will tell you. So whether it's, my cholesterol was still mid-range, wasn't like super low, but you know, obviously when I did that hardcore carnivore, I wasn't natural, so my cholesterol would be way lower otherwise. But you know, I guess the biggest con, guys, really for carnivore is the muscle size. You're not going to be completely filled out the same way. But that's pretty much all I need to talk about with carnivore. Carnivore is the best diet ever, especially if you're natural. But if you're not natural, you're doing replacement or anabolic steroids, you know, the best long term is going to be high carb or medium carb to low fat. Can you switch in and out of carnivore? Yeah, and I like doing that sometimes. But you know, again, you can have your cake and eat it too. You can have you know, you can have all the pros. Well, besides the more energy, that's one thing that if you do a high carb or medium carb to low fat, the energy levels are kind of like up and down a little bit. That's just how it works. But so cross that one off. You can have the rest of this with the muscle size and glycogen. Otherwise, you can switch the muscle glycogen to more energy pro. Guys, I'm Seth Spartan. Stay safe, stay healthy. I'm going to have to make more videos on this because there's just too much to talk about. But if I start making these videos too long, guess what? People don't watch them. So Seth Spartan, stay safe, stay healthy, and we are out of here.